Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. The Bryan Kohberger trial is never going to get done at this pace. We have a Mom of the Year contestant. Is there a person of interest in the Alder boating hit and run case? And we have a story about a guy who's just completely unhinged, I think. Some of the migrants who attacked police officers, they have plea offers that were heading their way, and our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
Hi, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't. Like if you do. Leave me a comment below. Hit that little bell for notifications. And remember, you can listen to us anytime on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Let's go ahead and get to the docket for May 15th, 2024. And first on the docket is the Bryan Kohberger trial. Now, we brought you this story last night. As if you joined us, we appreciate you joining us for our Tuesday night live program every Tuesday. And then we immediately go to our Patreon show for our Patreon members. So hearing was kind of abruptly canceled in the Bryan Kohberger matter because the defense is saying that the prosecutors need to turn over the evidence. Bryan Kohberger's attorneys have stated that the prosecutors are withholding evidence that the defense team should be privy to, according to the motions that they filed. Now, the judge postponed the closed-door hearing until May 30th so that both parties have time to review the information submitted between May 7th and May 10th. In the latest delay in the case that has hit several roadblocks over the last 18 months since the 4 University of Idaho students were killed on campus. Now, the decision to continue the hearing came after Mr. Kohberger's defense team requested the new evidence related to the probable cause affidavit in the arrest. Now, there's 2 issues that are going to be taking place at this hearing on May 30th. There's going to be a short hearing on May 23rd because one of the witnesses is not available on the 30th. So the judge has scheduled time to do that. That will be an open hearing. That is related to the genealogical information that they used to trace Bryan Kohberger back through family members to determine if that was his DNA found at the crime scene. So the defense is requesting more information as it related to how the FBI gained that information, analyzed it, etc. The other issue is in relation to some cell phone records. Now, this is what happened. Information comes in, and let's face it, for the most part, attorneys look like, okay, here's the cell phone information. Then you turn it over to your expert witness, and they say, you need to get this, request this specific information that is not there. That information is usually available as it relates to this. When I say this information, there's more detailed records that can be potentially made available. The question is it in the care and custody and control of the prosecutor? If it is, they have to turn it over. If it's in the hands of a third party, can't make the prosecutor go get what they don't necessarily have, but the prosecution then fails to do so at their own peril if, that issue comes up at trial on cross-examination, say for a witness. My advice to be the prosecutor is what my old boss told me. Give them everything they want, and we're still going to convict your guy. It's that simple. Just give the defense what they're requesting. You look like the good guy. You are being completely open about everything that exists or doesn't exist, and you leave it at that. Don't look like you're hiding evidence, Mr. Prosecutor. I have won more cases when the juries think that the police or the prosecutors were acting dirty, suspicious, withholding evidence. The jury will punish you for that. You know that, Mr. Prosecutor. You know that. Next, a Mother of the Year contestant. And yes, I am being facetious when I say Mom of the Year. This Florida mother is charged with murder after her 4-year-old son died as a result of her alleged abuse. Patricia St. Zaire is facing a charge of first-degree murder after her son, whom she adopted from Haiti last year, died on May 2nd, according to the Polk County Sheriff's Office. Now, St. Zaire was arrested after hospital staff told the police the boy died under suspicious circumstances. The sheriff also says an autopsy concluded that the child suffered from a deep liver laceration that was the result of a targeted blunt force trauma injury, as well as scarring on his back. With old scarring present, as well as fresh scars that would have occurred while the victim was living in the United States. Now, the liver laceration caused a rapid decline in the boy's condition, according to the police. And when the police interviewed the victim's older brother, who is a teenager, he initially denied that Saint Zer had abused him or that he had witnessed any abuse. But after being taken into custody of the Department of Human Services, guess what? Police say the teen told detectives that Saint Zer had threatened to kill him with a gun, and he allegedly said, "When they ask you something, say nothing so I don't get in trouble." Well, police also say that Saint Zer allegedly told the teen that the 4-year-old was faking it after he was seen looking lethargic and unable to walk. The sheriff's officers further added that a video from home surveillance found on the Saint Zer phone allegedly showed her hitting the child with an object while he was unresponsive on the ground, while another showed her allegedly throw him into a pool with his hands tied behind his back. Well, Saint Zer is charged with child abuse and tampering with a witness. It's not exactly clear if she's entered a plea as of yet or retained an attorney. She remains in custody, so she'll get public appointed counsel. Bad stuff is all that is related to. Next on the docket, the Ella Riley Adler matter. Police in Florida confirmed Tuesday that they are in possession of the speedboat that hit and killed teen ballerina Ella Adler. She was 15 at the time, and she was out water skiing last weekend with friends. Now, the boat was discovered outside of a $4 million home in Coral Gables, Florida, in a private gated community. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission said that the owner of the boat is cooperating with the investigation, and it's not clear if the owner was driving the boat at the time that Miss Adler was hit. Now, Miss Adler, who was laid to rest in a funeral on Monday, was celebrated as a star and a force of nature after she died being struck by the boat in the Biscayne Bay there in Miami. The police describe it as a hit and run. Now, this case may be getting a lot of publicity because of Ella's grandfather, Michael Adler, who is the current U.S. ambassador to Belgium and was previously considered as a contender to be the ambassador to Israel when Joe Biden took office. There is an award of $20,000 that will be given if somebody can provide information to the person driving the boat. Now, Ella was being celebrated because she had appeared at such a young age in over 100 different productions of The Nutcracker with the Miami City Ballet and recently appeared in a school production of Chicago. Next on the docket, take a look at this guy. He is losing it, going nuts. Well, he's an Amazon security guard kind of in training, and he tried to, execute his boss at close range before his gun jam, and he fired again, allowing him to dodge the attempt by inches. Now, Ali Hamza Yusuf was caught on surveillance footage creeping up behind his boss before attempting to shoot him. Now, the trainee security guard then fled the warehouse in West Jefferson, Ohio, before engaging in a shootout with cops in which he was killed. You can tell by the video that old Yusuf was trying to kill his boss before he couldn't, and then he tried to escape. Now, you can see he scans around before positioning himself behind his boss, who has his back to him and is engrossed with a computer screen. He then reaches into the waistband, pulls out his weapon, holding it behind the target's head with two hands. He squeezes the trigger, but the gun jams, and Yusuf is seen lowering the firearm to fix it. He then resets the weapon, fires again, and this time the supervisor is nearly hit with a bullet that goes by him. It missed him, and he gets up and kind of whirls around. Yusuf is then sprinting away as his boss gets up and runs for cover, and you can see a camera from inside the warehouse captures the supervisor sprinting away as Yusuf appearing to thinking about pursuing him before he changes direction. He then nonchalantly strolls out of the building with the gun in hand, uses his lanyard to get out of the building in the parking lot there, and then the supervisor, who is not injured, called the police and states that this guy shot at me twice, but he missed. He almost executed me. He's leaving the parking lot now as we speak. Anyway, the same caller used a radio device to warn the rest of the building to evacuate, get out. This is an active shooter thing. Then there were more than 100 workers inside the building at the time of the shooting. Anyway, the police ultimately arrive, believing there's an active shooter, but Yusef, as he's fled, is spotted later on Sunday afternoon in Columbus in Madison County, and he's chased about 15 yards when they have contact with him, and this time his gun works, and there is a shootout with the police, and guess what? Old Yusef dies. Nobody knows why exactly Yusef wanted to kill his boss or why he wanted to do anything else, but he was looking to go out with style. He had on a bulletproof vest at the time, and, well, let's just say it didn't quite work. Next, some migrants in New York get some plea offers. Remember those migrants that attacked a police officer in New York City, and it was right there in Times Square back in January? Well, guess what? The district attorney has offered them some plea deals, and what has been revealed is that one of the accused cop beaters was nabbed last week for, guess what? Another crime, this time theft. So the whole incident with beating the cop took place on January 27th. Obviously, it was captured on camera where these 6 migrants attacked a police lieutenant and another officer. And needless to say, people were not happy about that. In fact, it was one of the gentlemen that was flipping off the police as he was released on bail, thinking that he was going to have no consequences, and actually fled the jurisdiction. Well, guess what? On Tuesday, Yohenry Brito, Ulysses Baracas, and Andres Gomez Isgel were offered a plea deal by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office to go to prison for 1 year in exchange for pleading guilty to second-degree assault. 2 other defendants charged in the case, Kelvin Servita Arocha and Wilson Juarez, have been offered a separate deal to serve 6 months in prison, pleading guilty to obstructing a government administration, while Yorman Riveron will get 2 years if he pleads guilty to second-degree assault. It's unclear whether those plea officers are going to be accepted, and it also came to the attention that one of the young lads, Mr. Brito, was just arrested for trying to steal children's clothing and fragrances from Macy's in the Herald Square in Manhattan on Friday night. Now, the judge who let him out says, "Oh, I'm furious, Mr. Brito, that you're back here again, and I'm very tempted right now to put you in jail, but I'm not. But if I learn that you do one more illegal thing, I will put a warrant out for your arrest. That's including jaywalking." Ooh, Judge, I'm sure you're so scared. Ooh. Anyway, Mr. Brito was charged in another case with petite larceny and criminal possession of stolen property, both misdemeanors. Now, this was kind of a bad case, as you may recall, because one of the young men stomped on the lieutenant's head as the police officer tried to apprehend a suspect that was already on the ground. One of the young men then kicks the other officer in the back and returning to kick the lieutenant. Another young lad also was seen taking a swing, kicking at the lieutenant's head, and then the migrant falls to the ground as he tries to execute the kick. Real nice guys. So here's what's going to happen. These guys were hanging out here, causing trouble, whether they got illegal status or whether they have some sort of amnesty status for the time being. Guess what? That's all going to go away when they plead guilty. Now, an attorney can't advise a client to flee the jurisdiction, but these guys are going to figure it out. Let me see. When the attorney gives the immigration advisement, they're going to realize, let me see, you want me to go to prison for anywhere between 6 months to a year and up to 2 years for the one guy, and then get deported back to my home country. And the attorney will say, well, yeah, that's what's going to happen because these are crimes involving moral turpitude and or crimes of violence under the immigration statutes, and therefore you will more likely get deported, and you certainly will affect your ability to come back into the United States unless you have permission from the United States Attorney General. So the young immigrant lads will say, well, why would I go to prison and then get deported? I think I'll just self-deport myself. See ya. Now, we won't know what will happen right now, but I would be very curious to see how many actually show up to enter a plea. Why would you do that? I'm just telling you the way the criminal mind is going to be thinking, ladies and gentlemen. Self-deport or go to prison and then get deported and denied entry. Why don't you just go back to where you came from? That's what they're going to be thinking. I guess we'll have to wait and see if I'm right. And next, finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Elderly Walmart greeter was beaten in the face and head after being punched in the eye by a North Carolina man whose girlfriend was angry that she had to be asked to show her receipt. Now, the victim, Vincent Battaglia, who's 68 years old, told police that he was checking receipts at the entrance of the Walmart store, which when he was confronted by a man who was upset that Battaglia had stopped his girlfriend earlier at the exit. The employee advised, I'm just doing my job. Well, that's when Tomisha Robbs allegedly began yelling at her boyfriend to take care of him. In response to the goading, Trevin Waden punched the elderly victim in the eye, causing him to fall to the ground and strike his head. The couple then fled the store because obviously they've done something wrong and they don't want to be there when the police arrive. And of course, they didn't offer aid to the older gentleman. And guess what? That's a assault on an at-risk victim. You can't go around beating up old people. It's like you don't go around beating up on small kids or women. It's just not even a fair fight. Anyway, guess what? Police were very familiar with Ms. Robbs and Mr. Waden from previous calls because they had been arrested as a pair at their residence not long ago when they were charged with assault. Mr. Waden had also been cited for failure to appear in court in connection with another criminal matter. Shocking. Okay, you two are our dumb criminal of the day, going around beating up old men. Not a cool thing to do. And I hope you get a felony, and I hope you go to prison for a really long time because you deserve it. Yes, we are all inconvenienced when somebody asks for your receipt. It's nothing personal. They're just trying to prevent their costs by having people that are shoplifting maybe get stopped at the door. It's kind of a preventative thing, you two. Come on. Miss Robbs and Mr. Waden, congratulations. You're the dumb criminal of the day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk. And yes, the Constitution does matter.